Hello everyone, Justin here, and this morning what we're going to do is draw a couple mushrooms. So let's just start by drawing a couple ovals, but it's going to be a little bit flatter towards the bottom. So let's draw a curved line for the top, and then we're going to go ahead and connect this, but we're going to start flattening it out a bit here. Okay. Okay, you can see how it's a little bit flat here, and we're going to do another one right down here, maybe just a little bit smaller. This time I'm going to draw the bottom part first. So the bottom part, I'm actually also going to make it a little bit more wavy. So I'm going to just come up a little bit, and then back down, and then this is where I start the upper shape. Okay, so next we'll go ahead and draw the stems. So here we're going to draw these curved stems that kind of go this way, and we'll just start with two parallel stems, two parallel lines, and then in the midpoint of these stems there'll be a section that kind of peels up. So I'm just gonna do a W-shaped scalloped line, and then I'll continue the curvature of this line, but it'll be out a little bit because the bottom part will be a little bit thicker. So like that. Okay, so underneath here then will be grass. So I'm just gonna put some random lines like this, basically covering the base of this stem. So now we'll go to the other bigger mushroom and we'll do the same thing. So we'll make the stem just a little bit wider than this, maybe like that. And again we'll have this part here. This time I'm gonna make it a little bit more scribbly, and then again a little bit farther out because the base is a little thicker. Continue this line, and I'll do the same on the other side. That's pretty much it. So now what I'm going to do is do some shading with the marker, and this is basically what you would call a pen and ink drawing. And I will continue adding grass first of all, and just vary the angles of your lines just to show that there's no regularity to it at all, and make some of these a little bit thicker, and you'll see why in a little bit. Okay, so what we'll do first is go ahead and blacken the areas between with a thicker marker just to make it faster. You can also just use the pen, it'll just take you longer. And I'm gonna stop right there because that's where it's going to be really solid. Same here. I'm just gonna darken this side, and maybe going up to here. We can touch this up later on. And again over here on the right side, I'm trying to be careful not to go over these thicker grasses. Gonna leave them white. I'm gonna go back now to my thinner Sharpie and start just doing some scribbly lines to continue the tone, the background tone, except now you're gonna be able to see some spaces in between. And these are just totally random, and again I'm gonna be careful with the grass right here, and actually I'll add another grass right there. So as I get closer to the base here and to the center area, I'm making my marks closer together. So essentially the thick Sharpie right here would be the same thing as this, except really tight, but you save time by just using the Sharpie. Okay, and I'll do the same over here and add some more grass, and maybe start adding some grass here, scribbly lines toward the front. Just keep it very loose. Now I'm gonna go ahead and darken in between some of these blades. And continue on with my scribbly pattern as I go out farther. So you see that there's a gradient from really dark with our thick Sharpie to out here where the lines are looser and farther apart. And contrast is always nice, usually nice. So here's our white mushroom, and I'll just go up to maybe up here with our background. With this black background, then the contrast between the white and the dark background really sets the subject matter, which is our mushrooms, sets it apart, makes it stand out. So I'm just gonna continue with squiggly lines, a little cross hatching, especially here to improve the gradient to the black. And I'll just continue up here, maybe up to right here. And this is a very loose style sketching, so this is a very loose style sketch, so no worries as far as trying to make anything perfect. Okay, maybe some loose lines out here just to show that, you know, you can still see some texture out here, but kind of disappearing. Now let's go back to the mushrooms. So we're gonna have a cast shadow down here, so I'm gonna do a lot of parallel line shading, and just like it says, these are lines that are just parallel, and I'm gonna follow the contours of the stem, I mean the direction of the stem, and then repeat it closer to the top here because that's where the shadow is darkest. And what you can do here too is do interrupted lines. So darkest getting lighter, and as you get lighter the lines get interrupted. So let's do this part here. Let's make this part a little bit thicker to show that there's some thickness to it, and then add shadow lines here. And a couple over here. Let's do the same here. So let's add some parallel lines on the left side, maybe some interrupted, maybe double it up a little bit closer. And here, let's start right here with short lines and then getting progressively longer, and maybe just leave the farthest to the right lighter, and that would indicate a little bit of a reflection. Maybe there's a light here coming from the right. So let's go ahead and do our shadow area here. Again, just off the lip of the canopy, we're gonna add some lines, parallel lines, and make it darker. Now here, since it's gonna be pretty dark, I can just go ahead and change the direction of my line just to get that part darker. And you could always do some cross hatching as well. Here, let's go ahead and do a little cross hatching right there. So now the canopy part of the mushroom, the upper part, we want to indicate that it's rounded, there's a shape to it, and we'll use contour lines for our shading. So this part's, the upper part's going to catch a lot of light. That's going to stay light, the color of the paper, and the shadow then will be on the lower side and perhaps on the outer side here. Okay, so let's just do some parallel lines following the curve. So basically the curve is like this. Here's the center of the top, goes down this way. Pretend that there's water being poured right on top of the mushroom and imagine which direction it would go, and it would go just like this. So that's the direction we're going to follow with our lines. So we'll just go all the way across with our thin lines and just vary the height. Doesn't really matter. And you could make them a little closer as you get to the sides here to show that it is getting darker. And maybe a couple loose lines here at the top and more shadow here on the upper right, blending in with the shadow here. And I'll continue the shadow a little bit more this way. And we'll do the same thing with this bigger mushroom. And one technique of making sure that your lines aren't too irregular is to just go different areas here first and then fill in the spaces in between. That'll kind of help to make the strokes more varied and not so regular. Add a couple lines that extend a little bit higher to show that the surface isn't perfectly even. And that should be pretty much it. This was a pretty easy tutorial. I hope you enjoyed that and have fun with this. You could of course also use a pencil for this and do the same, or shade it in with a pencil. So thanks for watching and have a great day. We'll see you at the next video. Bye.